considering how much money I
Some lost their marbles without playing Chinese checkers. You eat the tuna club and I'll have the triple decker. Turkey bacon has the different flavor. Where's my neighbor? I shake my Jewish friend's hand and say Mazel Tov. And my Muslim friend, Assalamu alaikum. The Asian persuasion is so amazing. At night, I look up at the sky and stare at the constellations. If it's any consolation, when I dream of my wife, that's mental masturbation, orgasmic power of creation. Get up at 4:20, rise and shine, wake and bake it. T-shirts are printing more hex cause I'm staking. Proof of work is not better than proof of waiting. This manual labor won't get me rich, that's proof of slaving. Pulsechain to blockchain is per me in the making. Then throw a nice bag for the delegated proof of staking. A sack for post X, there's no need to be complex. Then sit back, relax, and collect intangible checks. Where's your OPSEC? Don't forget the OPSEC. Don't make any foolish mistakes and get caught up and wrecked. You gotta think like this, I mean for real like this. If you don't like this, your wealth deserves disrespect. What's going on, everybody? It's Crypto Wonder from the Crypto Wonder Podcast. Let's get right into it, and I hope you're doing well. So, there's a content creator that I used to listen to for a few years, The Modern Investor. And I listened to him because, quite frankly, when he reports, quote unquote, reports the news, it's his style. He's kind of quirky and funny to me, you know, like he says things, the way his voice, his inflection, the way his voice sounds, the tone, and some of the things he says are really funny. Like he's a character in his own right. And so he's a Bitcoin person. I was a Bitcoin person, right? And I started listening to him back in 2018. And I stopped listening to him at the end of, I want to say 2020. And I caught a stream of his today. Well, not a stream, but a video. You know, even with him, like there was a point where he, even though he was 100% Bitcoin, he also spoke about other things because he realized that Ethereum wasn't going anywhere, right? And some of these other coins weren't going anywhere either. But his whole thing was about Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And then in the beginning, he started talking down about NFTs and eventually got into NFT. That's how it goes in crypto, right? But the part about it that kind of like caught my attention was today when I heard him say that in his most recent, one of his most recent videos, that Bitcoin, as long as it has existed, has never had any problems, knock on wood. He said Bitcoin in its 13 years of existence has never had any problems. And this is a person who professes to be sort of like a crypto OG who's at least been in crypto since 2013. Who's more knowledgeable than many. I mean, this is a guy who he creates content every day talking about the news. And when I used to listen to him, if you wanted to remain abreast as to what's going on, that was one of the channels I listened in the past. That's the operative term, used to. And I'm not really shouting him out right now, people, for the simple fact of what he said regarding how in 13 years Bitcoin has been in existence, it's never had any problem. This is a guy who, on his channel, he would tell people, you know, he doesn't understand why people don't understand what's going on with Bitcoin and how people need to, you know, study, learn about this market, or they'll be left behind. The same type of tenets and principles you hear on the hex side. The same type of thing, but to say that Bitcoin has never had any problems on the network whatsoever in the 13 years that it's existed, and knocked on wood, said knock on wood, to me is so disingenuous, it's not even funny. Like, you're telling the people, your viewers, to do their own research, that you're not giving financial advice, that you think Bitcoin is something, or crypto in general, basically is the only way out for the ordinary person to pretty much uproot themselves out of financial hardship, and you're misleading them, lying to them, literally lying to them, and telling them that the best crypto, in your opinion, has never had any problems. No mention whatsoever of the 2 hacks that occurred on the Bitcoin blockchain. The blockchain had 2 different periods where inflation bugs were discovered. Why is that never talked about? If you've been in crypto since 2013 to date, excuse me, that's 9 years. 9 years you're in the cryptocurrency industry. And for you to have never heard that Bitcoin experienced 2 inflation bugs means that you haven't been doing your research well enough. The first inflation bug, off the top of my head, was some point in 2010, where 184 billion Bitcoins were minted. The chain had to be rolled back by Satoshi Nakamoto and another person. The chain had to be rolled back at 74,000 block, blase blah, whatever number it was, to fix the problem. Back in 2010, inflation bug on your favorite blockchain right there, Bitcoin. Why is that never addressed? The second inflation bug was detected by a Bitcoin Cash developer in 2018. And he decided to be benevolent and not exploit that problem by minting. That's like the worst attack that could happen on a cryptocurrency, because you can produce or mint however many tokens for free, diluting and robbing everyone of the value, just like that. That happened on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin blockchain. How could you say that there's never been a problem? How could you be so disingenuous? And this is, I'm going at him. I'm going at the modern investor, for real. And I'm going at everyone else who's in the space, who has 100, 200, 300, a million plus subscribers, who act as if Bitcoin is the end-all be-all. Going at them. The altcoin dailies. They don't really act like altcoin. They're just 2 guys, brothers or whatever, who talk about stuff and show people, and they don't talk about the things that help people really make money consistently. It's not that they're just Bitcoin people, but there's these channels you got to pay to play. Another channel that I used to watch, that the dude just became a gross idiot to me. The guy was just all about paying him to play. Voscoin. Used to be a miner or whatever. I saw him in his early beginnings of mining. There was a time when in crypto, and during the 2017, 18 period where you saw the beginnings of people. You saw how, folks grew, how their channels grew, and you would expect people to continue to succeed and thrive. And then you started to learn about the corruption that takes place, and you watching how people change, how people became, they almost became sort of like, it's like the money did something to people. It changes you for the worse. And just started to accept whatever sponsorships or whatever to build your channel. I get it, you got to feed yourself and your family, but at the expense of your audience, because a lot of the crap he would shill never produced what he would show. As far as like, how people show you their whatever dashboard, whatever they earned. The viewers could never say they've experienced the same earnings and the same. When you catch yourself in a situation like that, you got to question. You got to question, hey, why can't I, if I duplicate I make the same moves you make, I invest the same way you invest in, the same things you invest in, that you're shilling to the people. Why aren't the people just as successful, if not more, than the promoters? Question that. Question that. Data Dash, seem to be like well knowledgeable and, always talking about certain things, but still, it's like you have these big channels amount to what? Altcoin Buzz, there's big channels amounting to what? Ivan on Tech, big channels amounting to what? Crypto Banter, big channel amounting to what? Right? Amounting to BitBoy Crypto, amounting to what? To what? Like, folks, I heard this guy talk about that and how Bitcoin, knock on wood, has never had a problem in 13 years. I'm like, yo, you a sucker. You're a sucker for real, man. And what you, like, that's just like, and there's no excuse. If you've been in this thing for 9 years, I've only been in crypto 5 years, 5+ years. And I found out, the person the more you expose yourself to really trying to seek information, the information will find you. Because the first person I heard talk about the inflation bug for real, was Richard Hart. Was Richard himself. Then I had to dig deep and go do the research and discover, wow, this man isn't lying. This is something that really took place. This is something that really occurred. And these people, and I'm talking about the Bitcoin toxic poison heads, seriously, who all they think is about, all they know is Bitcoin and nothing else matters. Why don't y'all address this? Because the way it seems as if an inflation bug can appear at some point today or tomorrow, some point in the future. How secure really is the network? How secure is the network? If they talk about, network effect and, the more each day that goes by, the stronger the network becomes and blah, blah. 2010 inflation bug. Okay, granted, it was early. Then fast forward 8 years, 2018, that was just 4 years ago. The second inflation bug was discovered. What makes anybody think that now the problem was solved? What makes anyone feel comfortable and really believe that this network, this blockchain is so secure there'll never be a third or any other future inflation bugs? What measure, what oversight was taking place when people talk about audits, like a real audit, not just some shit that folks just say to make it sound good, like, they've been approved by whoever, you don't know who these monitoring bodies are. You don't know who these auditors are. You just hear auditor and something nice or whatever, and that's it. Oh yeah, you passed. How do you know? How do you really know that these things are legitimate? How do you really know? I mean, like, really, you just got to trust at some point in a third party again. This is what we're talking about, that crypto is not about. trusting in anyone else, in any middle person, in any go-between, in no one. And what's worse is you can't even trust the Bitcoin blockchain. So that just dismantles everything a Bitcoin maximalist would stand on. Like but it's hard to accept that. It's very hard, right? Like when you've just been you've ingrained and indoctrinated yourself into believing in something so hard, your willingness to see any cracks or flaws, because that's going to just destroy your world, your willingness to see the truth is basically impeded by your unwillingness to see the truth. Because you want to believe something is something so hard. You want to believe the blockchain works, the blockchain is the truth, the blockchain is the best, it's the most reliable, the most decentralized, etc., etc. Borderless, permissionless, immutable, all that good stuff. You want to believe it so bad, but guess what? It's flawed. It's flawed. But you got people who are suckers for love, like Michael Saylor and them, and all of his counterparts. Suckers for love, who are Johnny-come-lately, who want to speak about that Bitcoin quote-unquote narrative and the Bitcoin story to have people buy their bags. How much monetary energy has to be infused now to see a 10x in Bitcoin, a 20x, a 50x? How much monetary energy has to come in right now? Bitcoin already did over 112 million X. Over 112 million X at a fraction of a cent. 0.4 zeros and a 5. At its lowest. It's documented. Do your research. At 1 penny, it reached 69 million X. How long do you think you have to live to see another 69 million X from today? Really, when this is really about making money, when you talk about preserving wealth, and in the meantime making some money because you have to live on your way towards preserving this wealth, what do you think what alternative? What does Bitcoin do for you? It's not paying you. It's not paying you every day. You know, then you got to deal with that reality. The fact that this thing just, you hold it and you pray for a 3-4x. So it could look like something and feel like you're doing something. Meanwhile, you have other opportunities that get frowned upon because it's not Bitcoin that have just changed the lives of so many people with an abundance, exponential gains in much shorter period of time. But because it's not Bitcoin, folks are like, no, that don't count. Yeah, it does count. Yeah, it does count. It does count. That when they thought Ethereum was a scam, and many of them still to this day think and talk that Ethereum is a scam talk. How narrow and closed-minded that people are, It's just like folks who are just just so biased. So biased. This is how it becomes harmful, right? When your unwillingness to see a different perspective that could broaden your horizon, that broadens your understanding. So you could connect with people and possibly allow yourself to connect with something that's better, a better idea, a better set of values, expand your consciousness. It's like, just thinking like whatever you got going on is superior and everything else is inferior. That's a crock of crap. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. You have to do your research. There's never a moment where you stop learning. No one person has all the knowledge out here. It's available. If you're looking for the information, find it. Like I can't listen to that guy anymore. To be honest, I can't listen to the modern investor anymore. And that's why I cut him off like in the end of 2020. I stopped. I said, I'm done with this guy. You know, like, it's just, and the people, what's sad is the folks who have the real truth, the folks who have the truth, the real truth, and who speak about things and are blunt about it and give the raw as far as it comes, as far as when it deals with crypto, our channels are not big enough. They're just not. They're not. This guy had 220 something thousand subscribers. The founder of Hex, I don't know if he even has 150,000 subscribers on YouTube. He broke 200 on Twitter. Well, fuck Twitter. I don't care about Twitter like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people they go to YouTube to listen to the content, to see the visuals, the audio, all of that stuff. And you got a guy who's just a streamer, who's telling his people that Bitcoin is everything. Bitcoin has had no problems. Meanwhile, the founder of a project who created something that helped thousands of people become millionaires, his voice is suppressed. His channel got pulled 4 or 5 times from YouTube. No exaggeration. Censorship, crazy. Like, why? Why? It's sad, man. It's sad. It's really, really sad. It's really, really sad. And, you know, I just hope that the community of, you know, this whole thing continues to expand as far as like the awareness. I just hope it continues to grow and just multiply. People start to talk and learn about this and say, hey, listen, man, people can't just say Bitcoin has never had any problems. It's had problems, and those problems are real, are serious. Imagine being able to just take something that's supposed to be finite in number, 21 million, and 184 billion Bitcoins were printed out. The value of that thing will go to zero. 184 billion. You want to talk about dilution? It's not even funny. That's crazy. You're watching your net worth, your everything just go to zero. And it could have happened again 8 years later in 2018. Not even it was a Bitcoin Cash developer that discovered it and just addressed the problem right there without, exploit before someone else did and took advantage and exploited the chain. Wow. Meanwhile, you might not like Hex, you might not like pulsechain, you might not like none of these things the founder talks about, but you got to respect the truth and what the education. You got to respect the education. You got to respect the information. You got to respect the truth that he shares about this crypto industry. Nobody's perfect, like I said, but come on, man. Bitcoin ain't the best. Sorry, it's not. It's just not. Gotta live with it. Gotta deal with it. Don't get got, people. Don't put yourself in a position where you lose everything just because you want to just limit your opportunity or listen to what someone has to say. You don't even have to listen to me. Go verify what I'm saying. That's another practice that happens in crypto. Don't trust, verify. Don't trust anything anybody got to tell you. Go verify, because it's all risky. And you have to live with the decisions that you make in this risky game. You have to know that. Put your big boy panties and big boy and big girl underwears on. And deal with the decisions you make. Take care.